Well, that's that same joke, the same joke. Uh, a guy is in a shipwreck, or his boat wrecks, and he finds himself on a deserted island, and there's nothing there. It is deserted. There's nothing there, and he is just having a miserable time. And imagine that you're this guy, and imagine that you're on this island and you're having this miserable time, and here you are, and you look out, and what do you see? You see a box floating in the ocean, and the box comes floating up to the island, and you're so excited because, oh man, I'm on this deserted island, there's something in a box, what can it be? And you go and you open up the box, and inside of the box is a live tiger, and he jumps out at you. What do you do?
Stop imagining.
Just stop imagining. That's it, exactly. Hello, everybody.
Hello, I'm back home now. I'm
Oh,
home
you're
from
back
Bali.
home. So, is it cold there? Are you glad you took a nice?
It's cold. I'm wearing this, so
Oh my goodness!
It's winter, so. But
Very
it has been cold at night, a lot colder at night. So, but it's pretty nice at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Had a great
good.
time. It was really good.
Did you go by yourself, Nicole?
Yes, I did. But I also saw people that I knew that I'd met through like Way of the Heart and JM and stuff. I spent quite a bit of time with JM, which was really great, just to go into real immersion. Yeah, it was really good. So I was staying not far from him, just like about a 5-minute drive or something.
Nice.
On the back of the Gojek. So that was great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Yeah. Wow.
I bet JM appreciates you a lot.
I'm sure that he does. My goodness. Yeah, I did a lot of times. How many times on Gap did I go through the entire Way of Master? It seemed like every week for like 3 or 4 years. I did Way of Mastery with. I think I did it with. Did I do it with Yvonne Pona? Someone else, and
Charles used to. I started it with Charles on ACIM Gather. Remember Charles Dove does? Yeah,
yes,
you remember?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he used to play the audios a bit. And also people used to play the Yeshua letters and stuff as well, the Jeshua letters. Yeah.
I have all those. I have the original CDs. I used to play them at Gather. That was many years ago, of course.
Well,
I would love to have those CDs. Where I've been resting on, what I've brought back home with me is like, I'm back to the decision for God in A Course in Miracles, and the beginning part of it, like just this expansion of realization of the love and the care of the Father and the Holy Spirit, and that there's been so many areas of my life that I had thought were somehow exempt. Like, it's crazy, as if some parts of the dream are real. And just expanding that, to who can plan better for my care and safety than him, who loves me. It's been beautiful, actually. So yeah,
that's you know what, when I first started studying A Course in Miracles, the first thing I went into was the justification for forgiveness, because I didn't understand forgiveness, and I really had to come and understand what the heck that was, what Jesus was talking about. But then I went into chapter 5, I think it's section 7, the decision for God. And I did that every day for like a month. I would just read that again and again and again. And every time it would be so amazing to me. what in the world? But yeah, I mean, I think that was pivotal to me to
Yes.
actually get that, to understand that, it is all a decision. And, if I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace, man, I know why that is. I know what that is. So such a beautiful gift we have in A
Yeah.
Course in Miracles.
Yeah, and taking forgiveness deeper, like those justifications, like being able to simply just forgive without having to come up with, some kind of reasoning in the ego, or a hot potato shifting of blame to somewhere else that then I'll need to forgive later, to some other aspect of creation.
I love it, hot potatoing it. I love it. It is what we do, isn't it? How funny. But yeah, once you decide, once you decide that you want to do what Jesus did, which, I still think there's a lot of Course in Miracles students who are just like not conscious of what it is exactly that Jesus did or is doing, because people always go back to, the body, the somehow or the other, the world's going to be better, my body's going to feel better, I might, heal my cancer. We have all these ideas that, once I get this, then, and sometimes it says stuff in the Course that like your body will be, basically healthy, or healthy enough for it to service what the Holy Spirit needs from it. So we make up an idea of what that means, because for me, the Holy Spirit can't really do his job through me unless I am thin and strong and healthy. And I mean, I have to be a certain thing for the Holy Spirit to work through me. And that's a huge mistake that people make, because the body itself, what condition it's in, has nothing to do with what we are and what our purpose is here. It's just a tool. It's just a instrument that we can use, but no more than that. It has no more meaning than that.
Bridgie, say hi. Say hello.
Hello. So yeah, that always gets to me, because no matter who, not every Course of Miracles teacher, I can never fell into that state where he would say, yeah, and your body will be healed. He never fell into that. He always went directly, the body doesn't exist. Get this straight. The world doesn't exist.
Also, like in accepting his will, not deciding what that is, being like letting go of that. So we have a tendency sometimes to flip from one position to another. So maybe it's like, rather than us going, okay, well, I thought this, but it's not, and then flipping to another position, which is a limiting kind of perception. So being in a place where we're not deciding what that will is, and opening ourselves to allow, like, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Because sometimes we get absolutely blown away and amazed by, wow, how I had no idea that I was limiting his will for me, because I'm the Holy Son of God. I am the Son, and the power I have, the power of my mind, to limit his care is great. You know what I mean? We can't, as it says in the decision for God, we can't prevent it, but we can make it really difficult. We can make it really difficult. So
Exactly. Well, yeah, and what you're saying is, don't tell God how to make things right. Don't tell God your idea of, God's not asking for our advice as to how to heal heal us. God already gave us everything that we need. And we're over here saying, gee, I just don't get it. I can't find it. Where is it? Why didn't you give it to me? Or why did you give it to this person and I didn't get it? We're telling God how to show up in our lives by
Yes.
making conditions and thinking, and by doing that, we're limiting, as you said, God's ability to do anything for us, because we're saying, well, God's love would look like healing my cancer. God's love would look like me winning $1 million. God's love would look like my children coming home and loving me. We have all these ideas about what we think God's love looks like, and we're just limiting it to such a narrow place. And so that's what's so beautiful about this course. He really is opening us up through these beautiful teachings. And what did Dove just post? Let's see. Okay. Atonement teaches you how. Let me put out this light because I can't read with that light shining in my eye. Atonement teaches you how to escape everything that you have taught yourself in the past by showing only what you are now. Learning has been accomplished before its effects are manifest. Learning is therefore in the past, but its influence determines the present by giving it whatever meaning it holds for you. Your learning gives the present no meaning at all. Nothing you have ever learned can help you understand the present or teach you how to undo the past. Wow, this is so true. Your past is what you have taught yourself. Let it all go. Do not attempt to understand any event or anything or anyone in its light. For the darkness in which you try to see can only obscure. Put no confidence in all the darkness to eliminate your understanding. For if you do, you contradict the light and thereby think you see the darkness. Yet darkness cannot be seen, for it is nothing more than a condition in which seeing becomes impossible. Yep, exactly. And then he posted, nothing you have ever learned can help you understand the present or teach you how to understand the past. And yeah, so I mean, that's what we're trying to use our own learning, our own knowledge, and it doesn't exist for us in that way. It's not, it's it isn't here in that way. Um, so let's
That's actually where Ken Wapner gets his 2 + 2 = 5. He says, if anyone tells you 2 + 2 = 4, run the other way.
Yep, exactly. All right, let me go ahead and put the reading for tonight up in the room. And last week we're reading Does Jesus Have a Special Place in Healing? And so last week we read this paragraph. I'm just going to read through it really quickly, and then we'll move on to paragraph 3, which is where we're starting this week. So we have repeatedly said that one who has perfectly accepted the atonement for himself can heal the world. Indeed, he has already done so. Temptation may recur to others, but never to this one with a capital O. He has become the risen Son of God. He has overcome death. He has overcome death because he has accepted life. He has recognized himself as God created him, and in so doing, he has recognized all living things as part of him. Wow, all living things are part of me. There is no limit on his power because it is the power of God. So has his name become the name of God, for he no longer sees himself as separate from him. Wow. So yeah, this is, he's really talking about the healed mind that has, that is the sane mind, that is a mind that is in connection with its source. And excuse me, if you're in connection with
Can't hear you. You have no audio, Lynn.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah. She's frozen. Maybe you can send a text, Doug.
Okay, all right, all right. I didn't realize that she was frozen. Hold on. I'll just call her up.
Sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me.
Yeah, it's open. You were frozen, that's all.
My computer just decided they wanted to reset it. So if you guys want to carry on as long as you can.
Okay. Did you put up the next paragraph? Well, actually, the paragraph is not there anymore. We will just wait for you to come back.
Okay, I'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. All right. Bye. All right. She'll be back shortly.
Thank you. I love you. I love you. I'm sorry.
All right, am I back?
Yes.
Oh, let's see, I have my sound turned all the way down. Story that we deleted, but the mind of Christ is Okay. the same mind also, and it's in all of us. So I'm playing my own self. All right. Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me at all?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So we'll continue over here. Yeah, my computer froze up. Of course, my other computer is all froze up. I'm sure. Okay, I am seeing video. Okay. Let me go see if I can find our place we're reading from. And thanks all for hanging in, because of course you never know. And I was getting a little, I know that particular computer does not like to have the camera on at the same time. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see if we can get this back up. Oh, and are we still live streaming? That's a good question too, since my computer went down.
It says YouTube up in the upper left. Yes.
Yay! So, yeah, exactly. Taking up too much of my bandwidth. I didn't even know I was in a band. All right, there we go. All righty. So, and let me go switch over the mic on Pal Talk so that folks can hear us on Pal Talk too. All right. There we are, back in business again. Okay. So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by the Windows, or my computer deciding to shut itself down. That Jesus, he's talking about himself as in the third person here, that he's the one who was the risen Son of God. He's the one who recognized himself as God created him. He's the one who recognized that there was no limit on his power because it's the power of God. And so he's the one that also recognized that he no longer sees himself as separate from God. So that's how Jesus did it. It's simple enough, right? Perfectly accept the atonement, and not to have temptation. And it's interesting to me because he says temptation may recur to others, but never to this one. Why is someone who is thinking with the Christ mind, experience the world as the Christ, experiencing their brother as the Christ. What could tempt that, a person who has that? What could possibly tempt you if you know you have everything and that nothing is denied to you? What could you ask for that you don't have? What could you look for that isn't right in front of you? So it's very simple. Once you know you have everything, nothing can tempt you. Nothing can take away your peace, and nothing can take away your sense of beingness and contentedness. And I have everything I need. So no wonder that a person in that condition is able to be a savior, because there's nothing missing in them, and they see there's nothing missing in anything. They see there's nothing missing in the world at all. So this is what we're aiming for, is to be in a state of mind where this is how we see the world, and this is how we see ourselves, and this is how we see our brothers. So does anybody have any comments about that or thoughts about that? Sure, Karen, please take the mic.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. Thanks for all that sharing. Was beautiful. What comes to me, where he talks about temptation a lot, but the part that comes to me is where he talks about, I think it's lesson that says, let me not forget my function. And then he tells us that that's another way to say, let me not wander into temptation. So my function is forgiveness, and when I forget my function, when I forget to forgive, I am going to wander into temptation. When I see differences, when I think I know something, when I look to the past, to, just like you were sharing, to conclude what's going to happen in the present, I'm going to fail. So it's forgiveness for me. It's forgiveness for, I'm going to say, all of us. I think I can safely say that, that it's forgiveness is our function here. And without forgiveness, we will wander into temptation as long as we're here and believe that we're living in time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, because what does forgiveness say? Forgiveness says nothing happened. Nothing happened. And so nothing's missing. Nothing's lost. I don't have to wonder or wander. It's just here. So, and that can be your experience. This is I think what is the thing that people are missing from this whole teaching from Jesus. He's telling you this can be your experience, that you are completely connected to everything and everyone. Look at that. It says that he has recognized himself as God created him, and in so doing, he has recognized all living things are part of him. This is a state of being he's talking about, that we walk the world in a state of being where we experience our connection to every living thing. And in this world, everything is living, because God is in everything I see. God is here. So if you're going through your world, your life, experiencing as everything, I am everything, everything is me, there's no separation between me and the world. The world cannot, this is the true meaning of equality. There's nothing in the world that can attack me, because we're even. There's nothing in the world that can hurt me, because we're even. There's no one that's more than another or less than another. We're the same. Yes, Karen, please go ahead.
Exactly. And then another just popped up in my mind where he says, if you want to be like me, I will help you knowing that we are alike. But if you want to be different, I will wait until you change your mind. So he continually tells us that we are alike, that we are not different. It's only us that choose, like you said in the beginning, you know, we choose the ego. We choose to be different. We choose to see separation. It's a choice. It's a choice. So it's such a freeing feeling to know that we have that power. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a freeing feeling, but it's also a frustrating feeling when you recognize you're not experiencing the world that way. And to experience the world that way, it does take great effort and willingness to hear only one voice, to see only one Christ, to see our brothers as the Christ, and to see ourselves as the Christ. It takes a constant and consistent, and this is again what he's saying here. The temptation may recur to others, but never to this one. Why? Because constantly and consistently, I'm aware of the only choice that I have, and I'm making the only choice that is rational. So it's a constant, it's consistency, it's honesty, it's trust, it's actually seeing that this is a truth and can be my experience. I don't have to experience the world as a fearful place, or a place where I am not a home, or that the world is my enemy, or that my brother is my enemy. I don't have to experience. I can experience the world as a love, as my love, as God's love, as my brother's love, as the love of the earth for me, as the love of every living thing for me, and the love of me for every living thing. I can experience that myself every moment of the day. And this is what I'm reaching for. This is what I want. I don't want to be a part-time lover. I want to be a full-time experiencer of the Christ in you and all things and me. Who would like to read paragraph 3?
I'll read it.
Thank you, Rafi.
What does this mean for you? It means that in remembering Jesus, you are remembering God. The whole relationship of the Son to the Father lies in him. His part in the sonship is also yours, and his completed learning guarantees your own success. Is he still available for help? What did he say about this? Remember his promises and ask yourself honestly whether it is likely that he will fail to keep them. Can God fail his Son? And can one who is one with God be unlike him? Who transcends the body has transcended limitation. Would the greatest teacher be unavailable to those who follow him?
Beautiful. Rafi, do you have any thoughts about this?
The line at the bottom where it says, who transcends the body has transcended limitation. I mean, that for all of us, and it's been said many, many times, is the biggest hang-up. We think we're this separate person. We think we're this body. And no matter how many times you tell yourself, I mean, I do it all the time. If I'm not this body, if I'm not the body and I'm not the mind, then what am I? And I'm constantly doing those things to remind myself that I'm not the body. But it's been that way in this stream that never was, for so long that it takes even more effort and more effort and more effort. And the ironic part about it is, how much effort does it take for you to be what you really are? How much effort does it take for me to be what I really am? None whatsoever. So what's the problem? And then we're right back to the beginning again. The bottom is there is still somewhere that hang up that what I'm looking at is what I am. Separate. And it's not true, of course. It's complete falsehood.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's it. You know, this is the hardest part is this, this, if I'm not the body, what am I? And these questions that he's asking, I mean, really, this is so beautiful. You know, he says, of course, it means that in remembering Jesus, you're remembering God, and the whole relationship of the Son to the Father lies in him because he had the perfect relationship. You know, he reconnected to his source, and that's what he's asking us to do here. His part in the sonship is also yours, and his completing learning guarantees your own success. Is he still available for help? That now that this is a fundamental question here, that again, you know, if you don't recognize that he's telling us, not just in here, but in many places, that he's available to us all the time, 24/7, every moment of every day. All we have to do is ask for it, and he's there to help us. Um, and so what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean I hope he's there, or I'm trusting that he's there, or whatever? It's knowing that whenever you need a help, you need a hand, whenever you need a word, whenever you need a thought, whenever you need a to know how to do something, whenever you need anything in this world, you can call on him to help you. Not because you're hoping that he's going to be listening and give you a hand, because he says, I'm right here for you. Where is here? Is he somewhere else? Is he in another room? Is he in another planet? Is he in another state of mind? No, he says, I'm here. Here, right here, right here. There's never been separated or apart. So it's remembering the truth of what I am, and uh, remembering that God cannot fail his Son. Although, again, the world has told me God is going to fail you. You're going to ask for this and it's not going to happen. You're not winning the lottery, Lynn. You're going to ask for, you know, this person you love to continue living when they have a disease and they're dying. You're going to say, please, God, you know, keep this person alive for me. Or if you're you yourself have a sickness or a disease, are you going to be saying, you know, here, God, you know, take away my cancer, take away my this or that? This is all part of that same fundamental mistake, that we're thinking that there's something outside of us that's going to come in here and rescue us, when the reality of it is that it's inside of us the whole time, and there's nothing that needs to be rescued, because we have not been lost. We have never been separated or apart. So no, God can't fail his Son, because he has never failed his Son. It's impossible. So can one who is one with God be unlike him? Who transcended the body has transcended limitation. And again, he's not saying this to us that in the future you might transcend the body. He's saying that to us right now. Accept the atonement for yourself, and you transcend the body, because you're not believing that the body is what you are. When you accept the atonement, you recognize your own truth and your own connection to your source, and there's no more fear of being disconnected and being in a body. And I honestly believe that this like the state that Jesus was in, the state that, you know, Double, you telling me somebody's talking about Nisargadatta? um that there's a class that someone's doing about Nisargadatta. um he was one who, when they ask him, you know, where are you? Or he's like, you know, where I am is not where you are at all. I'm like in a completely different place, but I can see you over here in this in this world. And I was there too, and I can help you to get to where I am now. But where he was not living in a body in the world, even though it appeared that way because you saw him that way. Same thing with Jesus. He was not living in a body in the world. He appeared that way because you saw him that way and you heard his voice, and because this is how we can communicate. That's what he said. I put on a body so I could communicate with you. I put on a body so that we could have a conversation, because you wouldn't be able to hear me if I didn't. So I'm putting on one and walking around, but it's a suit. It's not what I am. And I don't even, it's not even connected to me. And, it's just a puppet that's here for your entertainment or your edification. So when he's talking about transcending the body, this is really what he's talking about. Not healing the body, not making the body better, not making the body live longer or be stronger. It's transcending the body. Who would the greatest teacher be unavailable to those who follow him? Absolutely not. He's here to teach us to do the same thing. That's my story. Anyway, that's what I think he's telling me. Please, Karen, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Lynn. And what you just shared reminded me of when I read A Return to Love. Marianne Williamson said that the body is just a suit of clothes. And that's the first time I heard that. That was in the 90s. And you basically just said that. But I want to read what Dove just wrote in the chat. He wrote, transcending the body is a shift from wrong-mindedness to our right mind. And for me, that is where Jesus is. That is where we can find him. That's where I can find him. And he tells us in the clarification of terms, in mind and spirit. He says, the mind can be right or wrong, depending on the voice to which it listens. Right-mindedness listens to the Holy Spirit, forgives the world, and through Christ's vision sees the real world in its place. This is the final vision, the last perception, the condition in which God takes the final step himself. Here, time and illusions end together. So right-mindedness, I love hearing that. I love that because he talks about right-mindedness as, he says, right-mindedness is healing. He says, forgiveness is healing. This is where the healing occurs, in the mind. And for me, if I want to say anything as far as Jesus is concerned, that's where Jesus is. Jesus is not a figure to me. Jesus is not a man to me. I don't see him that way. And I know some people do, and that's great. And that's wonderful. And I see nothing wrong with it. I think whatever works for you. But it's, to me, Jesus is synonymous with the Holy Spirit. And that is my higher self. And that is my right mind. And that is where I ask for help to see things differently, because the body, all sense of weakness is associated with the belief that we are a body. That's in lesson 91, which is miracles are seen in light. And then he tells us in that same lesson that the body is a belief to be undone. I can't do that on my own. Like Rafi said, this is every day I struggle with this. Every single day I struggle with this body, and I've had shared numerous conditions that my body has. The only way I can transcend that is going to my right mind and asking for help to see this differently. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that too, Karen. Yeah, that right-mindedness, that is when we align with Jesus in the right mind, and we're there. We're always there. We just don't think we are, because we're sitting here in the right mind, looking out and going, oh, look at that, and look at that, and look at that, and look at how they're doing things, and not paying attention to what our real person is saying, which is, that's not even there. What's wrong with you? It's not even really there. Please, Dove, I would love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, thanks, Karen, for sharing on that, because it took me a very long time to recognize that the right mind has nothing to do with anything over here called the body. So the right mind has nothing to do with anything that we call between our ears. Right mind is everywhere. Literally. It's unlimited. It's changeless. It's infinite. When you're in your right mind, you're at home. And I just put up that saying by Nisargadatta since you mentioned him. He says, listen, you've never left your home, but you keep asking for instructions on how to get home. I mean, he doesn't mention the word atonement because he lived like 100 years ago. He didn't know about the word atonement, but he's talking about the atonement. In the atonement, you never left home. I mean, that's the right mind. The right mind is I never left home. Len, I think
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Okay.
Are you
Yeah, I had muted myself.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that is absolutely, what you just posted here from Nisargadatta. And I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I think he lived, he just passed away, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago or so. But in India, he was a guy who, honestly, I mean, he was I don't know if you guys know of this man, but somewhere I used to have him sitting on my desk looking at me because I had to keep thinking. But he was a man who sold cigarettes on the corner in India. And that's a profession. People buy singular cigarettes, and so that's what he did. He had a family, and he sold cigarettes on the corner. And one day somebody said, there's this guru over here, go talk to this guy. And he went and talked to this teacher. And the teacher told him, if you just do this, just concentrate on I am, which was more than just concentrating on I am. But if you just concentrate on this, then you'll know the truth. And he, within 3 years of doing that, still selling cigarettes on the street corner, within 3 years of doing that, he attained illumination and became, I believe, one of the greatest saints of our time. And his book, I Am That, which he didn't write it, but people took it from his talks. Very, very eye-opening about how salvation is won. So I appreciate Nisargadatta, and thank you for. I don't know, maybe you posted that quote today, and that made me think about him. Sharon, yeah, go ahead, please.
It's funny because I did a lot of stuff in Awakening Together with, the sages, and then I was with Helen. So when I was studying the sages in India, Nisargadatta, of course, was Sailor Bob was his student. And what I realized with Nisargadatta is that he talks about he was awareness, like everybody says, we're awareness, and this is non-judgmental awareness. And then Regina had told us that he had another awakening, and that very few people get to go completely back. You know how this is the domain of the ego. And the reason I think he knows that the atonement is his experiences is where he was, there's no awareness even. I don't know what she even meant. Again, I don't care how far you go because none of that means anything to me. But it's just interesting how, much Eastern teachers believe when you wake up, this is it. You're in heaven now, and you're really not, because you are and you're not. You're still consciousness. So I was getting confused, and of course, Miracles teaches us, that this is the domain of the ego, and then we go, and how that works, I don't even know, because there are levels, But it's just interesting how. If you go to Eastern teachings, it did, I loved it and I got so much out of it. And I also feel like it confused me a little bit, because here all of us say God, he's awake, we're all God, but we're really consciousness. And the reason I say that is because some people get confused. So I don't know. I thought I'd share that.
Yeah,
it might be only me that ever gets confused. Who the heck knows? I can only see my own mind.
Well, maybe I was trying not to be confusing, because the way I seen is, of course, I went into deep study and contemplation on his teachings, and um, it's real interesting how that came about, was because of Regina, because Regina was reading Ramana Maharshi, and she started reading Nisargadatta, and she said, I can't understand what this guy's talking about. This doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't seem like, and she said, I think this is for you. And she gave me I Am That. And of course, in my ego competitive mind was like, well, if Regina can't get it, then I'm definitely going to do it. Because how silly we are with that stuff. So, or I
We
say,
gotta laugh at ourselves. We really do.
you gotta laugh. But
Our ego talks.
honestly, if it wasn't for Regina and the way we pushed each other, I mean, honestly, we did push each other. I started studying Nisargadatta, and I came to understand that yes, he is in a place that Jesus calls the real world.
Mm.
He is in a place where the phenomena of the world doesn't exist at all. But he relates to us the way Jesus was in the real world,
Mhm.
where there was no phenomena of an earthly body or life, but was able to commune to us because he manifested a body. Yeah, and he smoked, yeah, because the body of Nisargadatta did those things. The body of Nisargadatta was the like the body of Lynn. If I suddenly found myself being aware of true reality, do you think this body would just go poof and disappear? It would still be in the dream, if it's part of the dream, walking around relating to people and doing whatever it does. But it doesn't, and maybe like Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta both, getting cancer, having, all sorts of things going on. Ken Wapnick had cancer, and I heard somebody talking today, basically saying, how can you be awakened and have cancer? Well, because
Body's
it's not
mean.
you, it's not the body that's awakened. It's the body is still a phenomena in the dream. But anyway, not to make a big deal about Niz, but again, I found, a lot of clarity, and he really helped me clear up a lot of what I was reading from the course. So that's why, this is it's a deeper mystical understanding than it's just of the phenomena that we experience. Karen, please, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say that Ken Wapnick, he said one time that really helped me because, I was talking to some spiritual teachers that were telling me that it was all this unhealed guilt that was keeping my body still, not healing, and it wasn't that, sometimes it's not that. It's not always, that's my belief. That's my belief, because sometimes the body, goes through shit. Okay. And as long as your mind can be at peace, then you're healed, because your mind is healed. It has nothing to do with the body. And Ken Wapnick said one time that made me feel so much better. He said, truth will correct, and this is a lesson. It's a lesson that says truth will correct all errors in your mind. And then he said, not your body. Okay. Now, if your body heals, that's wonderful, but it's not the point. The point is not to heal your body. And people that like giving me that kind of an expectation, that just all that did was frustrate me and make me feel like inadequate, and guilty. So knowing that it's not about the body meant so much to me, because it's about the mind. And when the mind can be at peace, it doesn't matter what the body's going through. It doesn't matter. The mind is healed, and that's what matters, because the mind is sick, not the body.
Exactly.
So that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, it's that shift, the difference between cause and effect. And when we look at ourselves and say, I must have done something wrong because now I have cancer, that is blaming the victim for a thing that's a phenomena that's not really even a reality at all. And there's no cause. The cause of sickness is the body, or the belief in the body. The cause of death is the belief in the body. That's the cause of all of this stuff.
Mm. You know,
Go ahead, Sharon.
I just want to say this is one of the most important discussions for course students, because there is so much talk out there of guilt. I had fibromyalgia and it was painful. And the reason I think I talked about it a lot was because I felt so guilty, because course teachers sometimes would say that's your guilt. Now, the thing is, if I still have ego, I'm still going to have guilt, right? So that's just the way it is. But we don't have to look at guilt as bad, because it belongs to the ego. And the ego is not us, because the ego is manufactured. We didn't have much to do with, we're the one that's seeing it all. So I just feel this is a very, and I love what you shared, Karen and Lynn, because this is so important, because when it can make you feel inadequate, it can make you feel like you're failing God. And that's a pretty harsh thing to, like, oh, I'm not getting, I had so many ideas from different people. And I had a teacher that's not a course teacher that for a while, I love her very much, but she would say things like, well, if your dog's sick, then you still have, unworthiness. And it was getting stupid, because I read the course. It was just getting ridiculous. And I knew that at this point, she was making stuff up in her mind, just like, and you're not healed if you can't work a computer. What does that have to do with anything? Like a computer, like really? Like, well, then your vibration will be higher. It's not that. And I swear that's really when I made the commitment, course only, because it was good that I took like a couple years and read things, but the course is the truest teaching I've seen out there. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Sharon. And yeah, I mean, we tend to do that when we and use the course to bash people for being sick. A healed mind doesn't suffer. Sickness is the defense against the truth. I mean, honestly, we do that unto ourselves as well. And so, that's not, Jesus didn't give us the course so we could beat each other or ourselves up over our guilt. He gave it to us so that we could look at our guilt with the Holy Spirit. And as we talked about the other day, I think in another group, learn to laugh at it and laugh it away. Otherwise, we're just stuck in hell. And I mean, that's the whole point of this thing that Jesus has brought us, is to help us correct, exactly as Dove said, lesson 107, truth will correct all errors of your mind, and the mind that thinks that as a body is sick. So that's the only thing that needs to be corrected. I don't need to, heal my psychosis, or heal my cancer, or heal my starvation, or heal, none of those things. That is not even sick. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing here is sick.
Right. But let me say this, Christian Murray was somebody, I think he's the one that was an alcoholic, right? And he was a self-realized teacher. But if you look on, you can be an alcoholic and be awakened. That's what people don't realize. You can have anything, because awakeness, what wakes up is the wakefulness. This, the unchangeable wakes up, not us. We're not there.
Right.
So, I'm sorry if I just, I just wanted to get that one.
That's perfect, because my teacher, Chokim Trompa, was an alcoholic and drank all the time.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with anything. Yeah.
Exactly. Alan Watts was an alcoholic.
Oh, it was Alan Watts, not Christian Murray. I'm so sorry, because I got him switched.
I was thinking, was it UG? Maybe not. No, but
no, it was Alan Watts. It was not
Alan Watts. Yeah, he drank on stage when he was giving lectures. He's standing up there drinking.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Christian Murray he's the Indian guy.
So yeah. I mean, go ahead.
And so is Shoyam Trungpa.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He drank.
That's
he
nothing
would
to
sit
do
there with a drink. I mean, basically, everybody knew what was in his tea. So And you know, but if you listen or read Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism or any of those talks, or I mean, he gave those talks, he was brilliant. And
He's coming from the higher minds. That's
yeah,
what,
yeah,
yeah.
and it had nothing to do with the physical body that was sitting in front of you, you know, because, you know, here was a person who had been in, you know, drank and drove, and so he had accidents and got himself all busted up. So he was in bad shape, and so was I'm trying to think, Mar Baba, who was an early teacher of mine, like when I was a teenager. You know, I was really into his teachings. He had been in a car accident, and he was all broken up physically. I mean, these people did not have Johnny Weissmuller bodies. I don't even know if anybody knows who that is. Now that I think
You know,
about it.
when you said Alan Watts, you said Alan Watts. That is the truth. Alan Watts is the one. And I was on a site where they were talking, people were fighting about it, because how could he be awakened? And this is the ignorance of us as egos. We're all ignorant. We think that we somehow mean something. We
Yeah.
think that somehow we're going to walk away being this holy ego. No, we're not there.
Yeah. And that there's some kind of rules for how you should be, and that you've got a certain mode of decorum that you have to put up, and you have to dress a certain way, and you have to, you know, I mean, it's just craziness. It's all BS. Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I went to a workshop once, and a spiritual teacher, I thought they were drinking water. And I found out later that they weren't, that it was alcohol. And I love that. I love that spiritual leader even more after I mean, I loved him more for that reason, you know, because he's human. They're human. And there was several people that judged him and actually left at the break because of it, you know, and thought it was, oh, he's drunk, I can't listen to him, you know, and like, he wasn't drunk, you know, to me, he wasn't drunk. And it doesn't matter, you know, and if that's self-medicating or whatever it is, it's not my business, you know, it has nothing to do with me. So I see nothing wrong with it. I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I guess maybe I'm a little bit partial to it, that I understand it, but I just can't judge anything. I can't judge any of it. I can't judge anything because I don't know what it's for. So that's all.
Well, and the only thing that it can be for is to heal the mind. And I think I'm pretty well, I think I know pretty much who that teacher is. Doesn't change anything at all. And, you know, I mean, you look at, you know, the person and recognize, yeah, they have physical issues and are in great deep pain. You know, maybe, you know, we don't know what it is, but if you have, it doesn't matter. If you have clarity of mind, you can be drunk, you can be drinking, you can be taking drugs, you know, LSD, anything, and just be as clear as anything, because you have clarity of mind. Whatever you do to the body to make the body compliant with your needs, whatever that may be, you do it, you know. And speaking of, like, you mentioned Sailor Bob, I watch him every day. He has a YouTube, and he just had his 95th birthday the other day, and oh my Lord, still just as sharp as anything. But you have to get over that Aussie accent to listen to him. So that's thank you for mentioning him. Nicole, please go ahead.
All right, I'm going to get over my ring of fear now, and I'm going to stop turning the camera off when I want to have a cigarette. If I can smoke in front of JM, I can stop turning the camera off when I want to smoke. So that's one of my things that I've been unwilling to let go of. And I did talk with JM, I've been speaking about that, so I might not continue indefinitely, but I'm going to stop doing that. So thank yous for bringing that up, because this is one of the only places where I go and turn the camera off while I have a cigarette, and that is so spiritual ego, isn't it? Oh, I don't want me smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, so what's the difference in
Me having to wake up to a cup of coffee, and someone else having to go to sleep to a half a pint of vodka. I
Doesn't
mean,
mean
it's just the
anything.
ego just making all these distinctions.
Yeah,
What's the
I,
difference in me taking a
Look at Audrey.
Tylenol than somebody else taking a Quaalude? It's like, so it's just, it's much to do about nothing, just, uh, we make the distinctions, and I used to say in the Christian church, with a lot of Christians and get them upset. There is no doctrine of big sin and little sin. Even if you want to believe in sin, there is no theology or doctrine that supports big sin and little sin. So it's just much to do about nothing.
Exactly, Regis. And I have a lot of friends in 12-step groups. Lots of people I know are in 12-step groups. And it's okay. I mean, you do what you have to do to make yourself comfortable in the world. Honestly, you just do what you have to do to make yourself comfortable in the world, and whatever that may be. Now, drinking alcohol makes me uncomfortable as hell, so you're not going to see me even. I mean, like I went over to my daughter's the other day, and I took a sip of something she was drinking. I just took a drink of it, and man, I was like woozy
Yeah.
immediately. I can't handle that stuff, but other people can drink it all day and be as lucid as anything. So, I can't say, well, they're bad and I'm good. I'm not good. I just can't handle it. It doesn't work for me. Sharon, please go ahead.
Oh, I forget now what I was going to say, but I think it was just, I wanted to tell Nicole how adorable she is, because that's what she just said. And Audrey, this is what happens in spiritual groups. It's like being in school again. We want to look smart. It's ridiculous. It's all ridiculous. And that's when Lynn opened this up, I said, I'm so done with it because, I just want the real stuff, not to be a spiritual ego, not to compete. It's my dream. I got to own all of it. So I just thank everybody for sharing everything tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's beautiful. Yeah. Wow. I love this group. I love us.
Yeah, beautiful, Lynn.
I'm
Beautiful.
so grateful for us. And our time is up, and we'll start again on paragraph 4 next week. But please, if you got anything to say it. I'd love to hear it.
I have something quickly to say, and that is, wow, like it's a healing opportunity for me here too, because walking through that ring of fear then, and the feelings that are coming up, and realizing and recognizing the projection, like how I've been projecting my own beliefs and perceptions or beliefs about how I may be perceived if I smoke a cigarette. It's an opportunity for healing for me. So thank you all. Thank you so much. I love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You really truly need do nothing. You get that, right? But it feels good to read it feels good to join and do the course. But if we did nothing, what I'm trying to say is if you wake up or don't wake up, or you have this, it's all about feeling better here, because we're already home. So
We're already home. That's right.
yeah.
And thank you for being home with me. And I love you guys all so very much, and look forward to seeing you again Saturday morning. So
Yeah. It's good to see you, Audrey, and everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.